What if I told you that in the time it takes to glance at someone across a room, just 10 seconds, a man has already formed impressions that will shape how he approaches you, talks to you, and thinks about pursuing you? Those first moments matter more than we'd like to admit, but not in the ways you might expect. Welcome back to 60 Wise Living Advice, where we celebrate the beauty, wisdom, and endless possibilities of life after 60. If this is your first time here, I'm so glad you found us. This is your sanctuary, a community where mature women come together to share insights, support each other, and discover that our most captivating years can still be ahead of us. There's something fascinating about how differently attraction works at our age compared to when we were younger. Back then, men might have been drawn to the obvious things: youth, physical features, that kind of surface appeal. But mature men? They're reading entirely different signals in those first seconds. They've lived long enough to know that what catches the eye isn't always what captures the heart. And what they're looking for now reveals everything about what they truly value. Maya Angelou said it perfectly. People will forget what you said. People will forget what you did. But people will never forget how you made them feel. Before you've even spoken a word in those first 10 seconds, you're already creating a feeling. Understanding what creates that feeling, that initial sense of, I want to know more about this woman, gives you incredible power to make it work in your favor. Now, let me be absolutely clear about something before we go any further. This isn't about changing who you are, pretending to be someone else, or performing for male approval. This is about understanding how the wonderful qualities you already possess, qualities you've spent decades developing, show up in those first crucial moments. It's about making sure that the authentic, vibrant, interesting woman you are comes through clearly right from the start, instead of being hidden by self-consciousness or outdated ideas about how women our age should present themselves. What's beautiful about first impressions after 60 is that what mature men are looking for can't be faked. They're not fooled by performances or facades. They're looking for real qualities, genuine confidence, authentic warmth, true vitality, honest presence. These are things you've naturally cultivated through your life experience, and understanding how they register in those opening seconds helps you showcase them without pretense. If this is your first time here, I'm so glad you found us. Please consider subscribing and joining thousands of women who understand that attraction after 60 operates by completely different rules than it did in our youth, and that knowing these differences gives us real power to create the meaningful connections we deserve. So let's pull back the curtain and discover what's really going through a man's mind in those first 10 seconds when he meets you, and how you can make those moments count in authentic, powerful ways.
The first thing is your energy and how you carry yourself. Before a man even registers what you're wearing or what you look like in detail, something else hits him first: your energy, the way you move through space, the way you hold your body, the overall vibe you're giving off. It's almost instinctual, happening before conscious thought kicks in. Think about it this way. You can sense when someone walks into a room radiating confidence versus someone who seems to be apologizing for taking up space. Men pick up on this immediately, and at our age, this quality matters more than almost anything else, because it tells them whether you're someone who's still engaged with life or someone who's withdrawn from it. Your energy shows up in surprisingly subtle ways. Are you standing tall or slightly hunched? Are you moving with purpose or shuffling uncertainly? When you're just existing in a space before anyone approaches you, does your face look pleasant and open or tense and closed off? These micro signals are broadcasting information about you constantly. Margaret, 68, had a breakthrough moment when a friend gently pointed out that she'd developed a habit of making herself smaller, literally hunching her shoulders, keeping her head slightly down, moving quickly as if trying to not be noticed. I didn't even realize I was doing it, Margaret shared. It was like I'd unconsciously decided that at my age, I should take up less space in the world. When she consciously started standing taller, moving with more deliberate confidence, and approaching social situations with the attitude of someone who had every right to be there and be noticed, everything shifted. Men started approaching me more often, and when they did, they seemed more genuinely interested. I realized my body language had been telling everyone, please don't bother with me, even though that's the opposite of what I actually wanted. What's powerful about this is that energy and presence have nothing to do with your actual age, your weight, your features, or any of the physical things we often worry about. You can radiate positive, confident energy in anybody, at any age. It's about your relationship with yourself and with life itself. And that relationship broadcasts itself in ways that are impossible to hide. The question to ask yourself, when you walk into a room, are you taking up space confidently or apologizing for your presence? Are you moving through the world like someone with places to go and things to experience, or like someone hoping not to be noticed? That energy is what men pick up on first, and it sets the stage for everything that follows.
The second thing, your smile and eye contact. Once that initial energy registers, the next thing that happens in those first seconds, especially if you're in any kind of social situation where interaction might occur, is that men notice your face, but not in the way you might think. They're not analyzing your wrinkles or judging whether you've aged well. They're reading something much more immediate. Do you seem warm and approachable? Are you making eye contact? Are you smiling in a way that seems genuine? A real smile, the kind that involves your whole face, not just your mouth, is one of the most powerful tools you have for creating positive first impressions. It communicates openness, warmth, confidence, and the kind of positive energy that makes people want to move toward you rather than away from you. Eye contact works hand in hand with this. When you can meet someone's eyes comfortably, hold their gaze for a moment without looking away nervously or staring too intensely, you're communicating something important. You're secure enough to be seen and interested enough to see them. That creates connection instantly. Dorothy, 71, is naturally introverted and had gotten into the habit of avoiding eye contact and offering only tight, polite smiles at social events. I think I was trying to be invisible, she admitted. I'd convinced myself that at my age, men wouldn't be interested anyway, so why bother making myself vulnerable by really engaging? When she challenged herself to make genuine eye contact and smile warmly, finding something real to smile about rather than just being polite, the change was dramatic. Suddenly, men were striking up conversations with me at events where I'd previously stood alone. The only thing that changed was my willingness to connect with my eyes and my smile. The key word here is genuine. Forced smiles and aggressive eye contact feel uncomfortable and off-putting. But warm smiles that come from actual friendliness and comfortable eye contact that shows you're secure and present, those create the kind of magnetic first impressions that make men think, I'd like to talk to her. Many women our age have become self-conscious about smiling because of concerns about wrinkles or dental issues, but here's the truth mature men understand. A genuine smile that creates laugh lines is infinitely more attractive than smooth skin with a guarded expression. Those lines tell them you're someone who finds joy in life, and that's irresistible.
The third thing, how put together you appear. In those first few seconds, men also register an overall impression of how you present yourself. This isn't about being fashionable or wearing expensive clothes. It's about something deeper. Do you look like someone who cares about herself? Have you put thought into your appearance? Is there an intentionality to how you've presented yourself to the world? This matters because it's a direct communication about self-respect. When you present yourself thoughtfully, when your clothes fit well, your grooming is attended to, and there's an overall sense that you've made conscious choices about your appearance, you're telling the world, including potential partners, that you value yourself. And if you don't seem to value yourself, why would anyone else invest energy in getting to know you? Linda, 65, experienced this firsthand when she finally admitted that the oversized, shapeless clothes she'd been hiding in weren't making her feel comfortable. They were making her feel invisible. "I thought I was being practical and age-appropriate," she explained, "but really I'd given up on the idea that anyone would find me attractive, so why bother?" When she started choosing clothes that actually fit her body properly, in colors that made her feel alive rather than washed out, everything changed. I wasn't spending more money or suddenly becoming fashionable. I was simply making choices that showed I cared about how I presented myself. And men noticed. The quality of attention I received improved dramatically. This isn't about conforming to beauty standards or trying to look younger. It's about looking like you haven't given up on yourself. Your clothes don't have to be trendy, but they should fit well and look intentional. Your grooming doesn't have to be elaborate, but it should show care. These details add up to an impression of someone who respects herself. Think about it from a man's perspective. If you don't appear to care about how you present yourself, what does that suggest about how you'd approach a relationship? The small details of self-presentation aren't superficial. They're communications about self-worth and the energy you'd bring to any connection. The fourth thing, your voice quality and how you speak. Within those first 10 seconds, if any words are exchanged, even just a simple greeting or brief exchange, men are registering the quality of your voice and how you speak. This happens so quickly and unconsciously that most people don't even realize they're doing it. But voice quality communicates volumes about confidence, vitality, and whether someone is worth continuing to engage with. Men notice whether you speak clearly and confidently or mumble and trail off, whether your voice has warmth and life or sounds flat and disengaged, whether you seem comfortable taking up auditory space or apologetic for being heard. Your voice is broadcasting information about your self-confidence and your vitality. Patricia, 69, didn't realize how much her speaking patterns were undermining her until someone pointed it out. "I developed this habit of speaking so softly that people constantly asked me to repeat myself," she shared. "And I was always prefacing my opinions with things like, 'I'm not sure, but,' or 'this might be wrong, but.' I was basically apologizing for having thoughts before I even expressed them." When she consciously started speaking more clearly and confidently, stating her thoughts without all those undermining qualifiers, the response was immediate. Men started treating my opinions with more seriousness. They leaned in when I spoke, instead of straining to hear me. I realized that by speaking uncertainly, I'd been training people to dismiss what I said before I even said it. Warmth matters too. When you speak with genuine warmth, not fake enthusiasm, but real interest and kindness, you create emotional connection before the content of your words even fully registers. Men are unconsciously asking themselves, "Does this woman's voice make me want to hear more?" Pay attention to your speaking patterns. Are you using a lot of qualifiers that undermine your statements? Are you speaking so softly that people strain to hear you? Is there warmth in your voice or just flat politeness? Small adjustments here can transform first impressions dramatically. The fifth thing, whether you seem genuinely present or distracted. The last thing men notice in those opening seconds, and it's subtle but incredibly powerful, is whether you seem genuinely present in the moment or somewhere else mentally. In our distracted, phone-obsessed world, true presence has become rare enough that when someone encounters it, it's magnetic. Presence shows up in whether you're focused on the interaction happening right now or scanning the room for something more interesting. Whether you're listening or obviously waiting for your turn to talk. Whether you seem available for connection or going through social motions while your mind is elsewhere. Men can feel this difference immediately, even if they can't articulate what they're sensing. Eleanor, 72, discovered the power of presence when she made a simple change, putting her phone away completely during social situations. I hadn't realized how often I was checking it, even during conversations, she admitted. It had become such a habit that I didn't even notice I was doing it. When she started giving people her complete, undivided attention, really being present for interactions, instead of half present while part of her mind was on her phone or her to-do list, everything shifted. Men engaged more deeply with me. Conversations became more interesting, and honestly, I enjoyed myself more because I was actually experiencing the moments instead of thinking about something else. The opposite of presence, being distracted, checking your phone, looking around the room, seeming mentally absent, tells men that you're not particularly interested or available for real connection. Even if you actually are interested, distracted behavior communicates that you're not worth the effort of engaging because you're not really there anyway. At our age, we have a unique advantage in cultivating presence. We've lived long enough to understand that moments are precious, and that multitasking usually means doing several things poorly instead of one thing well. When you bring this wisdom to first meetings, offering genuine presence and attention, you stand out dramatically. True presence is a gift you give in those first seconds and throughout any interaction. It costs you nothing but distraction, and it creates the kind of impression that men think, "This woman is different. I want to know her better."
As we wrap up today's exploration, I want you to really take in this empowering truth. The impression you create in those first 10 seconds has remarkably little to do with the things we often worry about. Our age, our physical features, whether we've aged well by conventional standards. It has everything to do with qualities that are completely within your control. Your energy and how you carry yourself. Your warmth and willingness to connect through smiles and eye contact. Your thoughtful self-presentation. The confidence in your voice and your genuine presence, these are all expressions of your relationship with yourself and with life. They're not determined by genetics or youth. They're determined by how you feel about yourself and how you've chosen to show up in the world. What makes these elements so powerful is that they communicate exactly what mature men are actually looking for. Confidence, self-respect, warmth, vitality, and the capacity for genuine connection. These aren't superficial attractions. They're indicators of what a relationship with you would actually be like. Understanding what men notice in those first seconds gives you power, but not the power to manipulate or perform. It gives you the power to ensure that your authentic best self is visible from the very first moment. You're not trying to be someone you're not. You're making sure the wonderful qualities you've developed over decades of living are accessible to others right from the start. Remember, first impressions open doors, but they're just the beginning. These opening seconds create interest and openness that allows deeper connection to develop. They're not destiny, but they absolutely influence whether you'll get the opportunity to show all the other amazing qualities that make you special. If this message has helped you think differently about first impressions and how to make them work for you, please consider subscribing to our 60 Wise Living Advice family. When you subscribe, you're joining a community of women who understand that our power at this age comes from authenticity, confidence, and the wisdom we've naturally developed, not from trying to recapture youth. And please, share this video with another woman who deserves to know that she already has everything she needs to create powerful first impressions. Sometimes we all need reminders that it's not about being perfect, it's about being present, confident, warm, and authentically ourselves. Until we meet again next week, remember this. Those first 10 seconds are your opportunity to show up as the vibrant, confident, warm, present woman you are. When you do that authentically, you're not just making a good first impression, you're opening doors to the kind of meaningful connections that can genuinely enhance your life. Keep showing up as your real, magnificent self, beautiful souls. The world needs women who understand that true magnetism doesn't come from perfection. It comes from confidence, warmth, and the kind of authentic presence that only comes with living fully and embracing exactly who you've become.